I get it. You feel like you've tried everything you can to get faster. You've tried the healthy eating. You've tried the visualizing. You've even tried all the sprint drills you can think of. In this video, I'll be sharing 5 mistakes you might be potentially making that could be hindering you from seeing those personal bests that you want to see and the speed that you want to have. If that sounds interesting, keep watching. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cindy. For those of you who do not know me, I am a 3-time Olympian and I have been running track for a long time. I have done so many mistakes over the years and things that have been hurting me and haven't allowed me to see progress in my goals. I want to share this video because I see so many athletes who want to get faster but aren't focused on these 5 things I'm about to share. And I've noticed when I started to focus on these things, I saw a big drop in my times. I noticed that I was improving. So if that's something you really want to do, then hopefully these points can be of use to you and can help you start doing that. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Also, subscribe for more content in the future. The first thing that you might be doing that could be hindering your success is you aren't consistent. This is just not with showing up every single day, but this is really about showing up in everything you're doing. Are you coming to training with a good attitude? Are you mentally telling yourself that you can't do something and psyching yourself out? Too often we think that the speed that we aren't seeing is because we're not, training hard enough or pushing our body, but really sometimes it could just be we are inconsistent with our thoughts. We aren't confident enough to do it, and we are just not really putting in the full effort that we could be doing. Are you showing up 100% right before competition, knowing that it's a big time for you and you really have a lot on the line? Are you putting in that same level of effort every day, day in and day out? I started coming to my training sessions consistently with that mindset of I want to run a personal best, even if it's 6 months down the line. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can today to do that. So this can look like having a plan and sticking with it. Are you doing your drills lackadaisically? Yes, you could be doing the sprint drills, but you're really putting in the effort to do those drills well. So I used to train with my sister when I was younger, when she ran track still. And I remember I would be doing sprint drills around her and she was just like, "You look lazy." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I've been doing this for a while now." And she's like, you could tighten it up. And that made me think, like, how many of us are doing these drills and all these things on the track without realizing that we're actually doing them very lazy? Make sure you're looking at how your form is looking. You can be thinking, I'm doing everything right, but sometimes when you look at those minute details of how you're doing it, those are gonna be the things that make a huge difference for you. When I say consistent, I mean like you are consistent with all of the details. You aren't just saying, I'm doing all the stuff, but are you doing it right? Are you doing it with full intensity? Are you doing it the same every day and really coming with it with the same mindset? That's gonna set you apart. That's gonna make a huge difference for you. So I'm not saying you aren't doing these things. I'm sure you are, which is why you're watching this video and you're frustrated, but just pay attention to how you're doing them so that you can see that progress that you're desiring. The next mistake that you could be potentially making is you are overtraining. So like I said in the first point, we tend to think that training and pushing our bodies so much is what's gonna help us see our goals, when sometimes we can be doing it too much to the point where it's taking us backwards. So I remember there was a time where I used to do so many events, so many training sessions. I was doing so much. Sometimes when you're younger, you can get away with that. As you start to age like me, you recognize that you have to slow down a bit. And it sounds a little counterintuitive to slow down to get faster, but in reality, that's really true. You have to give your body the break it needs to recover. And I talk about recovery a lot, and that sounds really redundant, but honestly, it's a very huge thing that people don't even recognize they're doing. Overtraining can look like going 6 days a week without giving your body even a day in between those days to fully recover. So that could be like an active recovery day, a day completely off. Honestly, sometimes taking a day completely off from doing anything is not that bad. It's not bad for your system. That could look like you're doing workouts back to back to back and your muscles start to break down and you're feeling extremely sore. Like there's a difference between feeling a little sore and having, DOMS, delayed muscle onset soreness, versus my body hurts, I can't actually move. That is when you think you're making progress, but actually you're setting yourself back for potential injury, for your muscles to not actually thrive the way they're meant to thrive and push themselves. So if you're overtraining right now, really look at your schedule. And sometimes we're undertraining too, don't get me wrong. I also think that's another mistake that people are making is undertraining, and we'll go into that in a second. But if you feel like your body is starting to feel a little off, you're having random things pop up here and there, that could be a sign that you're overtraining, and I want to encourage you to take that break. It's okay. You're not gonna get set back the way you think you are. You really will see progress when you give your body rest. Now, let's go into undertraining. Let me give you guys an example. In 2020, I could not get to the track in the ways that I wanted to because everybody was in their houses and we couldn't do things the way we wanted to. I remember my sister and I had to just make it do what it do, like with where we could train. And honestly, that led to undertraining. So there is that fine line of you can overtrain, but you can also undertrain, and undertraining can be preventing you from seeing that speed. I just encourage you guys to get a coach who is really knowledgeable about periodization and who knows how to plan a structured workout for you that works, where they're going to give you the workouts you need to really push your body in a way that can make you see progress, but also they know how to taper you down. And what tapering means is they know how to get your body relaxed for a competition so that you see speed. And so that's why when you watch my videos, if you haven't yet, you'll see me lifting before a competition to get some movement in, to feel good enough to run fast. Those 2 points are important to consider. Is you could be overtraining, but you also could be undertraining. So like I said, finding a coach who knows how to properly taper you is going to be a good thing to do. And one way that you can do this is by looking at a coach who has a good track record of producing athletes who are running times you want to run. So if you're looking at a university to go to, a high school to go to, or even a professional group to go to, look at the athletes that that coach has produced in the past. You can see the trajectory of what those athletes are doing if you can see their times are getting faster. And so yeah, and that's just my recommendation when it comes to planning your workouts, is find somebody who can guide you, and also make sure you're not doing these 2 things, undertraining and overtraining, so that you aren't hurting yourself from seeing progress. The next mistake that you could be making when it comes to seeing progress in your speed is you could be wearing the wrong shoes or spikes. So now I honestly think, you guys, that they enhance your speed. I'm not saying that you magically put these on and you're gonna instantly run a personal best. If you don't train, obviously your training is important. But there are spikes right now that are out there that can help you run faster. I can attest to this because the year that they started making certain spikes that help with speed was the year the world record was broken, the year I broke a national record. People were setting personal bests left and right. You see 11-year-olds running crazy times right now because the shoes are changing, okay? And so this is just a little hack if you haven't thought about it yet. Here are some of the shoes that I recommend. I like to use the Addy Zero Finesse spikes because I have been sponsored by Adidas for a few years, and they started, giving me these shoes, and I felt them to make me feel so much better. There are also other shoes if you're interested in different brands. The Nike Air Zoom Max Flies, the Asics Metaspeed spikes, and the New Balance Fuel Cell spikes. So I'll attach all these in the description so you guys can go look at these shoes and see which one may fit best for you. But I recommend trying out some of these sprint spikes because they will not only help you see progress in your speed, but they're also a good support on your feet. Now, you may need to play around with having a spike that works for training versus competition, because some of these spikes, if you overtrain in them in practice, they can lead to your feet feeling a little bit off, or some shin stuff or calf things. That's something I noticed. So you just want to be cognizant of how you feel in training versus practice. But I promise you, if you start experimenting with different shoes, you will see a difference in your speed. They can help and they can really set you apart. Like I said, you still got to put the work in. This is not just something where you put shoes on and you're going to set a world record. However, I think you can definitely see a little bit of progress if you plan accordingly with what you're wearing on your feet. Now, if you're not a sprinter, say you're a distance runner, there are some flats that also are really good and that aren't so heavy. Let's just look into different flats as well. But your shoes could be making a difference. And also I recommend switching them out. You want to make sure you have a spike you're wearing, for a while, your feet are adjusted to, but you're not over wearing them. I remember I would wear my spikes till they fell off my feet, like literally. I remember I was wearing a spike that was holding on by a thread, and it's just not good. You're not gonna see progress if you're wearing them that long. So I recommend switching them out probably every 3 to 4 months. I would recommend, if you can, give yourself that little benefit that can help you see your times get faster. Next mistake that you might be making that you aren't even realizing is that you aren't focused on yourself. You are too worried about what everybody else is doing, what times this person's running, what time your competitor just ran in a meet yesterday, what time your best friend at training ran yesterday. This is something that I struggled, and I'm not gonna lie, continue to struggle with sometimes in my career, where you can see competitors running fast and you're like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. When you focus on yourself, and the years that I would just take some time off from looking at the results and take away my thoughts and concerns about everybody else were the years that I would progress. So if you're too focused on what everybody else is doing, you aren't going to see yourself thrive. So subconsciously, as competitors, it's really good to, be competitive and have that little instinct in you of like, ooh, I want to feel motivated to push myself. However, there's a fine line into where that becomes comparison, and then that can paralyze you and make you feel like you can't see progress. I remember I was having such a good training session before a meet. It felt really good. My coach was proud. They were timing me and I just felt like my times were hitting. And then people in the meet the next weekend were faster than me. Like, they had faster PBs, and I psyched myself out. And I just started overthinking. I started doing things that I normally wouldn't do because I was just trying to run fast. So like I said, comparison can lead to a plethora of things that you aren't even thinking about if you are letting it overtake your mind. And so focus on yourself. This is something I'm talking to you about, but I'm also talking to myself about. But focus on yourself, focus literally on your lane, and you will start to see progress. Like, this might have to be limiting time from social media, or limiting time from looking at results, or, even at track meets, like sometimes just really just like zoning on yourself when they're talking on the stereo, or not stereo, but the voice ahead of you, whatever they call that thing, when they are in the middle of telling, oh, this person ran this time and blah, 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 blah. That might just be a time you put your headphones in and you don't even listen. Or maybe you're just like reciting scripture or reciting something in your head that will help you not focus on that. Because like I said, you can psych yourself out big time if you're not careful. So the last mistake that you might be making is you just aren't getting the proper training you need. Now, I think that people overlook this a lot. There are some more experienced coaches out there that can help you reach the goals to hit your speed. And so if you feel like you just can't seem to break this time that you're running, maybe not on a team, but you just feel like you can't break this cycle of not running fast enough, then I challenge you to go find somebody who can help you. I actually have personal one-on-one coaching where I help people get faster and work on their technique and whatever they have. So if you are interested, I'll put an email here so you guys can email me and we can talk about that more, or you can visit my website, that will be in the description. But if you can find somebody who is experienced in this area to help you more so one-on-one, this will help you. Like I said earlier, finding a coach who has experience with athletes who've done well in the past, or finding somebody who just knows, like when you're talking to them, they have so many things that you want to work on. They just have so many ideas that can help you. Like, if you can start doing that, that can really, really help you. Like, it's not always about doing it on your own, but sometimes adding in people who can support you. And not everybody has the means to doing that. So if that's something you don't have right now, then I highly recommend looking on YouTube, researching, and just understanding the basic mechanics and really becoming knowledgeable in the sport. But just be patient and honestly trust that it will come. And some of these mistakes are things that can really hinder us if we're not careful. Find someone who could potentially help you make that progress that you truly want to see. So I hope this video helped you guys realize some of the mistakes you may be making without even realizing. This is not a video to come at you and tell you that this is what you need to be fixing. These are just things that can sometimes get overlooked if you're not careful. I know I've done it. This is literally me speaking from personal experience. And now I've reached times and places in the world where I've hit times that I never thought I could run because I started paying attention to these things. So I really hope this can help you, and if it did, leave this video a thumbs up and comment down below one of your goals, like one of your time goals you would love to run, whether that's next year or in 2 years. Write down the time, the event, and honestly, let's encourage each other. Like, I think there's something to be said about writing a time out. I've done this in the past where I would write times I want to run out, and sometimes they happened, and it really was encouraging to see like, oh my gosh, I hit my goal. So let's write it out, let's encourage each other. And yeah, if you guys liked it, make sure to subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.